JD says, put a team in Philly, make Dawn the coach. Y'all, Dawn ain't leaving South Carolina. Dawn is not leaving South Carolina. And if I was Dawn, I wouldn't either. Honestly, I think now maybe this is a controversial take. We'll see. We'll see what y'all think about it. But I really think that in the women's basketball game, and maybe in the men's too, I'm not totally sure in the men's, but in the women's game, it is better to be a coach in college than a coach in the WNBA. In terms of longevity in your on your team, I would say one of the rarest people in the WNBA is Cheryl Reeve. She's been with the Minnesota Lynx for an extremely long time, but that is hard to find. If you look at the Seattle Storm, Noelle Quinn is only a couple years in. If you look at the Phoenix Mercury, they just got a new coach. If you look at who else? Tanisha Wright, newish coach. If you look at the guy who was the coach at Connecticut and went over to the LA Sparks. I'm blanking on his name, but new coach at LA. If you look at Stephanie White, new coach with the Connecticut Sun. If you look at Teaspoon, new coach with the Chicago Sky. You go all across the board. There is just so much change that happens in the WNBA in terms of coaching, because if you're not winning, look at Sandy Brondello. Sandy Brondello was with the Phoenix Mercury. They were like, you're not winning. You didn't win us a championship. You got to go. So she left and went to the New York Liberty. And if the New York Liberty don't win a championship in the next 2 years, they're gonna get rid of her there as well. The plight of a WNBA coach and NBA coach, and for the most part, most professional coaching roles, you don't have that much of a leash. You do not have that much of a leash, and it hurts your ability to sort of progress over time and see incremental changes and sort of have ebbs and flows when stuff happens, right? So if you let's look at the college game. Let's look at the college game. You have Dawn Staley, who's been with the South Carolina Gamecocks for a long time, right? You have Tara Vanderveer, who has been with the Stanford Cardinals for over 30 years. She has experienced waves of when Stanford was very good and then times when Stanford wasn't very good. But the difference between college and the WNBA is that college, it feels like they allow you to ride the wave a little bit longer, right? So whereas in the WNBA, you may have a leash of about 2 years, maybe. Whereas in the WNBA, whereas in college, you get 5, 6, 7 years, and you're trying to make it work. So I think in terms of coaching, like it's more of a leash. You have more of a leash to sort of build continuity with your team, and sort of like build over time. Look at Adia Barnes. She's been at Arizona for a long while now. Look at Gina Oriema. Like, these are coaches who have been at their program, and I'm just mentioning some of the well-known ones, but you can go down the list. You can look at the ACC, you can look at the SEC, you can look at the SEC, you can look at the Pac-12. Like, there's a lot of continuity when it comes to coaching. Brenda Freeze at Maryland. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I just saw your message. Yes, absolutely. She's been at Maryland for forever. And then back in the day, y'all probably remember the sort of, in my mind, OGs of the women's college game. You had Sylvia Hatchett, I think, yeah, at University of North Carolina. You had Gail Gestincourse, who was at Duke for an extremely long time, and it was her decision to leave. You had just so many people, so many people. C. Vivian Stringer, yes, Lou A. C. Vivian Stringer has been was with Rutgers for a very long time. Pat Summitt, like there has been so much continuity in the college game that just doesn't exist in the WNBA. And so if I am a college coach at a solid program, why would I ever leave? Why would I ever leave to coach in the WNBA? It doesn't make any sense. So that's my hot take. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but that's my take about it. No, Dawn Staley should not take a coaching job in the WNBA. She should not. In my opinion, she should not. Yeah. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if y'all think my comments are wild on that front. Let's see. DRZ says, yeah, I wouldn't leave South Carolina if I was Dawn either. But Becky might be paving the way for other former coaches to get a payday in the pros. Maybe, but the difference between Becky Hammon and these college coaches is that Becky Hammon was never a head coach before her WNBA job. That's no shade at all to Becky Hammon, but like it's like apples and oranges, right? Becky Hammon was an assistant coach for a very long time. So is she paving the way for former NBA assistant coaches to be able to have a head coaching position in the WNBA? Yes. Look at Teaspoon. Teaspoon is now with the Chicago Sky after being an assistant coach with the New Orleans Pelicans. So yes, paving the way for sure.